Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. On-demand liquidity, XRP payments, and the largest banks in the world. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.3 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off by 1.4%. Good afternoon, everybody. 29,400 plus for Bitcoin, 2,000 slightly over for Ethereum. Tether market cap, 80.8 billion plus. We're watching it close. We see XRP at 51 cents, and we are off by 2% in the last 24 hours. Let's take a look at this. It's Jason Cousins from Glint, baby. Yeah, Glint Pay. Yeah. Looky here. A gold-plated special edition SpaceX rocket for when Glint Pay becomes the currency on Mars using transaction authorization via quantum entanglement. Great to see Super Heavy today. It says good luck to Elon and his team. Second time around in 48 hours. They had to move the launch apparently here. And he goes on to say there's a serious point in this tweet. Glint will continue to innovate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you can get Glint and spend it like cash. Listen to what he's sharing here about moving into the future and what it really means to have the power of Glint in your hands right here. Glint will continue to innovate. We are already watching developments in quantum physics, particularly the concept of quantum entanglement that has the potential to enable secure long-distance communication without relying on the internet. Researchers are developing post-quantum cryptographic algorithms that are resistant to attacks by both classical and quantum computers. These new algorithms are based on different mathematical problems that are believed to be hard for quantum computers to solve. But at the end of the day, no one has found a way to dematerialize gold and hack it down the wires. And this is where Glint comes in. Gold with Glint remains secure in a vault operated by one of the biggest custodians of precious metals in the world, outside the banking system and insured by Lloyd's of London. Don't believe it, it's still true. Click the link to my sponsor and check out Glint. You will love it. I trust you that. Let's start right here with John Deaton. In Ripple, the judge said SEC lacks a faithful allegiance to the law. That did happen. Judge Torres said it. In Library case, judge shamed the SEC over the lack of clarity. And in the Grayscale case, the court said that the SEC's argument made no sense. And in the Voyager case, the judge blasted the SEC's ethics and behavior. The SEC will lose. I completely agree with that. Go John Deaton. Damn. This was all on basically John Reed Stark, a former SEC chair, saying that the SEC crypto exchange crackdown has begun and the SEC is apparently taking no prisoners. Four recent SEC events indicate that crypto exchanges, platforms, etc. will have to stop doing business in the U.S., at least in their current form. Now, we know that they're going to continue to do this until Congress stops them. That's just the way this is. However, John Deaton goes on here to say, as a reminder of that lack of faithful allegiance to the law and all the other examples that he gave, the courts are the great equalizer. And as you know, we are days away, weeks maybe at the most, from a ruling in the SEC versus Ripple. And here we finally see what appears to be, and I do use the word appear. Representative Warren Davidson said, here, in sharing what we covered over the weekend, I think it was on Friday, right? Friday or Saturday, where SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce had managed to articulate the awful position that the SEC takes with companies that come in and try to register in good faith and instead are rewarded with an enforcement action. Paul Grewal had shared that, the chief legal officer of Coinbase, and to follow, Representative Warren Davidson said, yep, to correct a long series of abuses, I am introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Securities Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where the authority resides. Former chairs of the SEC are ineligible. we shall see. I think the biggest problem here is that you got the incestuous relationships where they're always choosing someone from Goldman Sachs or some other large investment bank so they can recuse themselves from all the dirty dealings that those entities are doing, and then they can't vote on that. And that is a huge problem too. So if this new model that he's introducing deals with that, I'm all for it. Let's take a look at this. Crypto Law says now is not the time to be timid about Gary Gensler is doing to American companies and millions of retail asset holders who have no protection against his agency unchecked behavior. It's time for tough questions and accountability. I don't know how you can say it any better. Shout out to Crypto Law on that one. And we see that there was a recent, over the week, going into the weekend, I want to remind everybody there was a draft published for a stablecoin bill that would have all private stablecoins reporting to the Federal Reserve. We will keep you up to date on that as it develops. Now, this right here, on-demand liquidity, as you know, is where XRP is used in a very real market between market makers and participants. It says here, the Scoop-enabled crypto exchange supports XRP payment outlets through JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Citibank. This is all based off a tweet shared here by Elizabeth. Pay outlets using XRP, CoinsPH support the following payment outlets through on-demand liquidity. Warning, some heavy hitters, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citibank, it goes on, Sumitomo, it says here, Deutsche Bank, Standard Chartered. I tell you, let's take a look at it right here. Let's get a look-see. You're going to like this. You're going to like this, ladies and gentlemen. If we look at this, ODL uses XRP as a bridge. We certainly understand that, no doubt about it. We're not afraid to talk about it, right? But here we go. Let's take a look at it. You'll see some of these names of these banks here as we move through them, and this is really, really promising. And does it mean that they're using it now? Not necessarily, but they're prepared to. Citibank, Deutsche Bank, right? The list goes on and on. Ing Bank, JP Morgan Chase Bank. Yeah, HSBC Savings. Standard Chartered. Sumitomo Mitsui Bank. This is the stuff that we've known for quite a while and certainly speculated upon. And now we're seeing more actual solid evidence that supports all of that speculation we have been under constant attack for. There you go. Next 30 days will revolutionize your portfolio, says Crypto Maniac 101. I say, I don't know if this is true, but as a thought exercise, it's a great reason to think through just such a moment. Are you ready? We all talk about having some big windfall at some point, or speculate that we will, depending whether what product or project you believe in the most, and it could vary for many, right? But at the end of the day, I do think that this is a good moment and a great time in a down market. I don't want to ponder these ideas of what I would do when the market is actually booming and I don't know where to go, right? You want to have a plan in place, right? What did they say? Was it? A failure to plan is a plan to fail. I think that's how they say it. And if I didn't, forgive me. You can put it in the comments underneath the video, but I believe that's accurate. And it really is meaningful to me. And I know I have plans in place. And I want you to listen to this longer clip of Jake from Beyond Broke here talk about a hypothetical scenario that you should think about. And it doesn't mean that the numbers are exact or whatever, just arbitrary numbers to set up a hypothetical example. Take a listen here.
Somebody that holds a substantial amount of XRP, and what that might mean, whatever it means to you. I'll look at it this way. Here in the U.S., there's a gift tax threshold of $12.92 million per individual. If you're married, that's $25.84 million. And when you move your assets into an estate, there's an estate tax or gift tax that'll be on that for anything over that amount. So let's say you've got 300,000 XRP. Just as an example, hypothetical, it goes to $100. Okay, you're looking at $30 million. At that point, when you move that into an estate in order to protect yourself and set things up for the future, you're going to be looking at a 40% tax on anything above the amounts I mentioned before. Whether you're single or married, you're still going to owe 40% tax, whether you cash out or not. And so that's a consideration you want to take in and make sure you're being proactive about. It would be ideal if you could set those structured up beforehand, before you reach those amounts, so that you don't incur those tax penalties. And then once it was inside those vehicles, whether it be, a holding company that's structured inside of an LLC, inside of a trust, or if you wanted to lease your assets from your holding company inside your trust to another entity so that it could, do whatever it was going to do with those assets in order to produce income and pay you, make distributions out of the trust or from that company to you as an employee. There's a lot of different ways to go about it in order to mitigate tax obligations. But the largest consideration in the short term for people, I think, is that gift tax for when they do move this into an estate.
And there is a lot to think about right there. But listen, I can tell you for a fact that the only thing worse than not having money is having it and then messing it up. Now, look, Jake has a Beyond Broke group. I know I've got a group which you'll be able to rejoin again after the conference. It is actually shut down right now because we've reached a max of who can be in the group. But this is the subjects at hand inside of this group. And collectively, we're working on these things as Jake is doing. Jake also has a family office that he's working on and doing as well. So these are the kind of conversations that the adults are really interested in having, that the people I like to really be around and be very forward thinking about how we can preserve our portfolios and not mess them up. Because at some point, I'm expecting some kind of a breakout, and it's not because of speculation. It's because of use case. And I believe that we will get some clarity in the U.S., whether it's sooner or later, because XRP and the XRP ledger actually solve a problem. They actually can do the things that they've said they can do. And to me, that is quite promising. And some of the people that control the chart, or look at the charts rather, are really, really pointing towards a moment here that could be coming. Now, is that moment a new all-time high, or is that moment just breaking and touching a dollar? I don't know the answer. Is that moment something bigger? Is that moment a repeat of history and seeing the cycles repeat briefly like the history of XRP has done? And Crypto Bull reminds us here from all the way back in August of last year that if the cycle repeats in similar fashion, we could see a $200 XRP, but that doesn't mean we know when, right? And that doesn't mean that it will. But the point of the matter is that we all start thinking about, what is that number you need? Where is that point in your portfolio that you need to move to the next stage of planning to make sure that you preserve and protect your wealth? Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.